Hey, good morning, guys. So I just wanted you to see I did an employer, added a company, did a candidate, added a candidate. I did back to employer, add a job, and I went through, filled out the job. And as the process clicks through the bottom, there's this little graph or little, you know, time travel. When I go to submit the job, it takes me to pick a plan. There's three big long bars of three different types of plans with three different types of prices, which is absolutely perfect. And as I go to submit the job, before the job will get posted, I have to pick a plan, and now it takes me to my cart automatically. It does it. So now I've got to make a payment, and then once I do, my job listing will be posted. This thing's already there. I know what we were talking about yesterday. I think we got caught up in the minutia a little bit. Had we had done a couple of candidate journeys from the front to the back, a couple of employer journeys and post a job, I think would have got a great feel of how this thing's already operating, and we could have executed quickly. My concern is there is a programmer, web developer that offices with the branding girl. She's been blowing up the owner. He's been blowing me up because I haven't given her access to the dev site. I didn't want her to get to the dev site because she's supposedly trying to build Google ad campaigns. She doesn't need access to the site to do that. Owner doesn't know that. But he's called me abruptly a couple times saying we needed to get her access. My fear is that we're 8 weeks in his mind, and real timetable, it's about right. We're about to be 8 weeks because it was a week before we got his check. Paid everything up at the end of the month. So back in, and we're talking about April. I think we could have at least, you can see I took the basic package, right? I think we could at least run through this thing as to how it works probably a ton of times by now instead of ciphering just the back end, because I could easily go through the front end and tell you where the nuances of what we need to do. Nothing should say resume. There will be no resume upload, so there's one big feature that'll be gone. But what is that connected to? And I think if you'd go look at the journey of the candidate, it's really the three or four boxes at the very beginning. And then the second box is a little bit more of that filtering based on what's there. I did go to a job, and as I did the job, it did let me do the drop downs and those cool things that you've done, Lane. But did anybody follow through with the process? Because before I could submit a job, because it says submit, it takes me to pick a plan. Now it's taking me to cart. Once I pay this, right? There's no credit card, but let's just put in the information real quick. See what happens. Yeah. Test. Let's place the order. Invalid payment method. There's not even one on here because we don't have it turned on. So we probably should have already had that turned on by now. There's the coupon, so 20%, coupon should be available for referring, right? So if I get one, it got to be used once, expires in a year. So we're missing a whole bunch. So we could have already, he's got his authorized.net account. He's had all of the banking stuff since a month ago, and we could have already been testing at $1.50, right? We could have programmed all these to $1 and run a couple tests. Make sure that part's checking out, get them some revenue. So I can't proceed with the order because the payment is invalid, but it doesn't offer me a payment place. I think we're way down the road further with what this thing was capable of, but I think we're reticent on our ability to get it there. I'm very comfortable with the conversation yesterday and what all we talked about. Fantastic. But we are in the consumer's mind 8 weeks. I'm afraid, I'm going to tell you, I'm about to head out to this meeting. I'm an hour drive, 7:30. Yeah, I got to leave by 7:45 just to get there for 9 o'clock. That's how bad our traffic is. So anyway, what I'm concerned about is that programmer developer in that office did give them a bid, and it was pushing almost 25 grand to do a custom. I'm hoping that they didn't use the other domain, which is locked up to some private servers, and it's not us. That they didn't go ahead and run to daylight with something, and we're going to have to cough up money. So buying the uh, the license, your invoice, and several of the other things that we had to pick up on. Um, we pushed almost 9 grand. A gentleman sent me a hefty deposit. More than 50% of the cost. Um, and Man, we're about to be 8 weeks in, and I don't think anybody's tested this or even tried it or discovered the journey so that we know exactly what to do to the back end, because the front end is really the most important part at this point. What do they encounter? How hard was it? I got to tell you, filling out a job was pretty involved, way more than I think he was going to be excited about. Filling out my job, my company, that was pretty easy. Candidate, pretty easy, but it's missing some of the critical pieces, or we need to change the names of what that does. So now that this job won't let me do that, you know, um, there will not be a job listing. We probably could have fixed that. That way we would have had some job listings. We would have had, a candidate in there, company in there, uh, and, we could say that the thing is actually working. All right, I'll see you. Thanks.